Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Learn. So if you are new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and click the bell icon to get the latest notification. So today's topic is offshore banking. Okay, so in this video, we will be discussing what is offshore banking, its characteristics and also types of offshore banking or financial centers. Then we see to the development of offshore banking and the offshore banking in India. Okay, so let's start the video. So what is an offshore banking? The term offshore refers to a location outside one's home country. Okay, so offshore, the term offshore refers to a location which is outside our home country. Okay, so an offshore bank is located outside the country of a resident of the depositor, typically in a low tax jurisdiction that provide financial and legal advantages. Okay, suppose I am living in India and I am availing a banking service located in any other country outside India, then it is known as an offshore banking. Okay, so why we opt another nation or another country for banking services? Because maybe in that country there will be less tax rate or less rules and regulation. Okay, so offshore banking involves securing assets in financial institution in foreign countries which may be limited by the laws of customers' home nation, much like offshore investing. Okay, that is, the people will opt to invest their money in some other country because that country's rules, regulation, tax rate, all that is different and is much easier from the home nation. Okay, that is why we all prefer to invest in some other country. Okay, so that is known as offshore banking. So if we prefer a banking service which is outside our nation, which is outside our home country, then it is known as an offshore banking. Okay, so the simple example is that we can think of is Swiss bank account. Okay, Swiss bank account provides that puts rich people's money out of the reach of their own country's government. Okay, that is the people who earn a lot of money and they have to lessen their tax rate, then they put their or invest their money in the Swiss bank account where the tax rate is very less compared to the home nations. Okay, so that is about offshore banking. Now let's see. So some other points is that people and companies can use offshore account to avoid the unfavorable circumstances associated with keeping money in a bank in their home nation. Okay, most entities do this to avoid tax obligation. Okay, that is, most companies or most people do this offshore banking because they want to avoid the tax obligation in their home country, because in offshore banking the other nation is providing these facilities at a lesser tax rate. Okay, that is the first reason and the main reason. Okay, second is that for those who work internationally, the ability to save and use fund in foreign currency for international dealings can be a benefit. Okay, that is, if we are working internationally, we are doing business in many countries, then it is very much easy for us to depend on a bank at a offshore than to depend on a bank in our home country. Okay, so these are the main reasons. So now let's see what are the offshore banking centers. Okay, offshore banking center is a place where deliberate attempt is made to attract international banking business by reducing or eliminating restriction upon operation as well as lowering tax or other levies. Okay, so these are centers who deliberately reduce tax or offer more services than provided in other countries to attract the banking investors to their banks. Okay, so such center is known as a offshore banking center. They deliberately attempt to attract international banking business. So to attract that, what they do, first one, they reduce or eliminate all the restriction and open up, then they reduce the tax rate and give other incentives and other benefit by which the investors get attracted to their own banking services. Okay, so such center is known as offshore banking centers. Okay, so it means carrying on banking activity which is insulted from the monetary regulation of the host country. That is, suppose in India there is a lot of rules and regulation or a high tax rate being followed, then these offshore banking centers will provide very less rate of tax rate, and also give a less procedures, rules and restriction, by which the investors in India prefer to invest their asset in offshore banking rather than investing in home country. Okay, so these centers who attract them is known as offshore banking centers. They are set up to attract international banking business for dealing in non-resident foreign currency denominated assets and liability. Okay, so that is offshore banking centers. Now let's see what are the characteristics of offshore banking center. First one is local capital requirement is very low, as they are attracting customers from other countries. Okay, so they don't need any capital requirement. Second one is license fees is low because they are not following much of our rules or regulations. Third one is entry is relatively very easy. For this, tax are virtually non-existent because the main attraction for investors to invest in offshore banking center is that the offshore banking provides a less tax rate. Okay, that is why people are going and investing there. So we can say tax are virtually non-existent. So these are the characteristics of offshore banking centers. Okay, now let's see some of the selected offshore centers, that is famous offshore centers, that is the Bahamas, Cayman Island, Panama, Hong Kong, etc. Okay, so these are some of the offshore centers which provide a very less tax rate, which are very much open up to the investors, okay, and attract the investors to invest in their country. Okay, so that's it. Now let's see what are the types of offshore financial centers. Okay, so there are mainly two types, that is functional center and also paper centers. Okay, mainly two types. So first one is functional center. So these are those where actual deals are struck with customers in respect of obtaining deposit and negotiation of loans. Okay, this is the place where actual dealings strike between the customer and the bankers. Okay, so among the functional or fully operational center, a distinction exists between international and regional financial centers. Okay, that is, these international financial centers have a difference from regional financial centers. They always see to it that there is a difference between both of them. Okay, then these international centers cater to regions extending far beyond the boundaries of the country or area in which the center is located, and they cater to financial needs of customers worldwide. Okay, that is, these centers are always located far from the country's boundary, that is our home country's boundary, and they extend or cater to provide financial need of customers in worldwide. Okay, then the next point is that the regional financial centers derive their role primarily from a combination of geographical proximity to the countries in which customer operate and the safety and easy operation of subsidiary branches and agencies of foreign banks whose head office lie in the international financial centers. Okay, that is, in order to attract the investors, they set up small branches in every country worldwide. Okay, but the head office, the main office will be on offshore. Okay, so we are actually investing in the main office, that is offshore, but we can access them from these all branches which are present in every country, which are present in worldwide. Okay, these are the tactics these offshore bankers use. Okay, I hope it's clear to you all. So first one is functional centers. So these are centers where the actual dealings with the customers takes place, where a deposit and negotiation of loans takes place. So they always see to it that there is a distinction between international and regional financial centers, and they set up these financial centers in every, that is branches, set up their branches in every country in worldwide so that the investors can access them easily. But their main head office, that is a main functioning head office, will also always be set up on an offshore. Okay, so these branches are controlled from the offshore. Okay, then other point is that these financial cater regions extending far beyond the boundaries, and they promise to help or financial needs of the customer worldwide. Okay, that is another point. Okay, so the next type is paper centers. Okay, so what is it? It is also known as booking, shell, brass, plate, routing or suitcasing centers. Okay, So these are the other names for paper center. These are locations where transactions are legally booked out. They are really a set of ledgers maintained by an agent. Okay. A booking financial centers serve as a location of recording and keeping. There is no or very little actual banking activity. So these are centers where there is very much less of banking activity, but more of like record keeping works. That means these are centers where the all the records of where people are investing, how much amount is invested, or how much amount is borrowed, or who all have taken the loan. All these paperworks, all this ledger account, all these books are kept in these paper centers. Okay, and there is very much or no banking activity that takes place in paper center. All these banking activities will be taking in the financial center, and all its book work, recording, etc. takes place in the paper center. Okay, I hope it's clear to you. So there is mainly two types: financial centers and paper centers. Okay, so next one is development of offshore banking. That is, how did this concept of offshore banking arrive? Let's see that. Okay. So this originated from the Channel Islands, being offshore from UK, that is United Kingdom, and most offshore banks are located in island nation. Okay. That is first this offshore banking was originated in a Channel Island, which is far from the offshore of United Kingdom, and we can see that mostly these offshore banks are always located in island nations. Okay, so in 1970, the UK and Europe levied their highest, most punitive tax in the developed world. Okay, that is in 1970, UK and Europe started to charge a high rate of tax. That is, with the high earners in UK having their earnings taxed at the rate of 85%. Okay, giving rise to the phase tax exile, where the likes the Rolling Stone, Michael Caine, Pink Floyd moved abroad for a year at the time of to avoid paying high income tax. Okay, that is in 1970. What happened was UK and Europe started to charge a high level of tax rate. In UK, it was like earning tax at a rate of 85%. So to avoid that, people started moving abroad. Okay, started moving abroad to avoid paying such a high tax. So that is how this concept started. Okay, then the government and financial institution in the Channel Island realized that rather than a person leaving United Kingdom to save tax, their asset could be moved offshore to Channel Island Bank, and the tax could be saved that way. So by that, this concept of offshore banking arrived. Okay, that is in 1970, UK and Europe started to levy high tax rates, and people started to move abroad to save this tax rate. Okay, to avoid this tax payment. So the government and financial institution in Channel Island, which was an island situated offshore United Kingdom, thought and realized that instead of people leaving UK to save tax, their asset can be moved from UK, and the asset can be secured in this Channel Island, and thus they could the tax could be saved by that way. So that is how the offshore banking uh, was developed. Okay, so the Channel Island fall into two separate self-governing, and it assisted the dejected investors with two key offerings. That is, this Channel Island told the investors that they will provide you two important keys. First one is confidentiality, and the second one is low tax. Okay, these two things are provided to the investors. By these two key factors, the Channel Island could attract more of investors from United Kingdom. Okay, and that is how this offshore banking was born. Okay, so I will explain it once more clearly. Offshore banking, the concept came when first one was introduced by Channel Island, which is being offshore from United Kingdom. So in 1970, what happened was UK and Europe started to raise their tax level, and many people had to pay a high tax rate. So to avoid paying a high tax rate, people started moving abroad to avoid this tax rate. Then this Channel Island, being away from United Kingdom boundary, they decided that instead of people leaving United Kingdom to save tax, their assets and liabilities can be moved. And they promised the investors two main key. First one is confidentiality, second one is low tax rate. by these two factors, the people or the investors were attracted to this offshore banking, thus developed the concept of offshore banking. Okay, I hope it's clear to you all. Now let's see how this offshore banking came to India. Okay, now let's talk about India. So Sudani Committee on a Foreign Exchange Reform 1996 has recommended offshore banking in India. Okay. So the concept of offshore banking came from the recommendation of Sudhani Committee in 1996. Okay. It happened when FERA was replaced by FEMA. Okay. So the Sudhani Committee report came when the FERA was replaced by FEMA. Okay. So in Article 10 of FEMA, it included offshore banking unit as one of the authorities to whom RBI could delegate power for dealing in foreign exchange. And that is how offshore banking was developed in India. Okay. So yes, that's it. I hope it's clear to you all. So we discussed all about offshore banking, its characteristics, offshore banking centers, and the types of offshore banking. I hope it's clear to you all. And if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up, and also share this video to all commerce students. Okay. And please don't forget to give your precious feedback under the comment section. And there's a Telegram channel to get all these PDFs. It's absolutely free. So the channel link is also provided below. Please join it. And if you have not subscribed to Let's Learn, please subscribe and click the bell icon to get the latest notification. And for more commerce video, keep watching Let's Learn. Thank you.